And I want to welcome everybody to the CSU Lakers show at the Loch. I'm your host, David Jones, along with the head coach, Vince Alexander of Clayton State University. How you doing today, Coach?
Doing great, Dave. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Another long weekend. We're in the thick of the Peach Belt Conference. It's January. Within the next month, we'll be getting into the Peach Belt tournament, NCAA South Regional, all the way up to the NCAA Championship at the end of March as well. You like to see teams that are starting to peak around this time. And when I
Mm-hmm.
say teams that are starting to peak, you want to see them starting to move in the right direction. Coach, we were talking previously how important it is for people to understand not only the quality of the Peach Belt, but for people to understand that how good this league is, and it's better. Let me rephrase that a little bit. There are a number of D2 teams that are just as good, if not better, than D1 teams. Would you agree?
Yes. Certainly the Peach Belt Conference is an elite basketball conference. We have some really, really good teams from top to bottom, some very good coaches from top to bottom. Um, there's a lot of teams in our league that can compete with low majors, you
Mhm.
know, and it's not something that would surprise a lot of the low major coaches. That's why they don't schedule us, you know. Um, but it is a very, very, very tough conference, very competitive from top to bottom. Um, and, you better be ready to play every night. You got to lace them up every night.
And I agree with you on that. One of the things about this league that also makes it so exciting is, especially when it comes tournament time, you can't rest being that 1 versus 8 seed or 2 versus 7 seed. You can't rest, because if you rest, you can get knocked off.
You're absolutely right. From 1 to 8, you better be ready. You know, it's not something that's guaranteed. You got to go out and work, and you got to stay humble, stay hungry, and hope that you can stay healthy as well. You
Hmm.
know, which sort of hit us a little bit this year with some things, but nevertheless, these are things you have to do. You have to be ready. You have to be humble, stay hungry, and stay healthy.
I agree with you 100% on that. And, I like to, when we talk Clayton State basketball, the thing in watching you continue to build this program, you know, it's not a situation where Clayton State is just getting just beat from jump ball. A lot of these games, they're so close, and it's just, as we like to talk, it's execution down the stretch, to understand what needs to be done to secure that victory. Because when you look at stat sheets, and me and you have talked countless times, when we look at the stats, you're like, the stats are almost even.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
with the stats being almost even, can make it even more frustrating sometimes, because now it's the little small things to get you over the hump.
yeah. It is extremely frustrating, especially when your guys are very capable. Um, we've had some unfortunate things happen for us this year. But one thing for sure is that we don't hang our heads. We're continuing to battle. We got to continue to build our guys' confidence, um, and continue to get them to believe. But you know, the biggest thing I think that it comes down to is your attention to detail and your effort, your attention to detail and effort. If you can be attentive to details and you give maximum effort every second you're on the floor, you're gonna be in a position to win that game. And I saw us do some good things yesterday. We've been having to play these games, 4 games in 7 days, 8 games in 14 days. Is what it's coming down to, and it's a game every other day. So it's been a little tough as far as that, especially we've had some guys out, missing a few players, and it's eliminated. The one thing that we were very very good at early on is our bench production, but our bench production is sort of decreasing because we have guys out. So the guys that were coming off the bench are now starting, and so you don't have that production. And it's just it's been a sort of a mess for us. But we continue to battle, continue to believe, and like you had mentioned earlier, we lock in on attention to detail, and we try to get maximum effort.
No, I agree. And coach, as we're going into this week, uh two big contests coming up this week. And I feel like, and when I speak about this on when we're broadcasting, basketball is a game of runs and momentum. And really, all it takes is, it's not that you all are playing bad. No, Clayton State's not playing bad. I feel like it's the momentum. Once everybody can understand, because you had the momentum early. When you beat Morehouse and you beat a couple of the other teams, you could see that momentum swinging and the confidence. Like I said, right now, yes, there's some injuries and some other things where it hurt. Where you don't have that bench like you had earlier. But I feel like if we really look at this, coach, it's one or two plays away from the momentum swinging to like it was before.
Yes, you are absolutely right. You know the game, Dave, and we're possessions away from
Yes.
securing these wins.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to keep things in perspective. Everybody wants it to be turned around,
Overnight.
immediately, including ourselves. But the reality is we have 9 new players. With the injuries and setbacks that we've had this year, we only have 2 players at this time playing that played
Sure.
minutes last year. Only one played significant minutes, and that's Jamal Clyce. You know, Marcus Harris has just gotten back, and he didn't play, the full year last year, and he didn't play a full year this year. So we have 1.5 players. Everybody else is new. So you're trying to put together a consistent team that competes with a bunch of new guys who are learning the system, adjusting to the culture, and having buy-in. Now, I think the positive thing is I think our guys are buying in, and I think they are, you know, uh, buying into our culture and what we believe in here. Playing and like our thing is individuals win trophies, but teams win championships.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so individual win awards, but teams win championships, and that's what we're trying to establish here, a team that wins championships. And I do think, regardless of what you see right now, I do think we have a really good group of guys who are bought in. Yes, they've lost some confidence over the last 6 games. We've lost a lot of confidence because we're a different team since we came back from Christmas. We lost some players,
Mm-hmm.
so it is what it is. We had to play a game yesterday without 2 key players again, and it's just one thing after another. But we're gonna keep working, stay positive, and keep believing.
And yeah, I mean that's part of a mentality of when you're changing the culture. You know, you're going to go through adversity. It's going to be how you handle that adversity to move forward. So when you are at that point where you're winning a couple games at a time, you're appreciative of that because you know where you came from.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
You know, Coach. One of the other things I like to mention as well, and you can definitely be proud of with this. It's the team GPA over the winter break,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's part of culture. That's part of culture right there. That's
yeah,
definitely part of culture, and it's one of the highest GPAs that since you've been there, if I'm not mistaken, right?
yeah. Our guys, picked it up in the class. Still not where we want it to be, but they've picked it up, and it's probably one of the better GPAs since we've been here. Even before we got here,
Okay.
men's basketball, didn't knock socks off in the classroom, but we're starting to we're starting to get there. We're starting to get there. Guys, coming in and working hard and going to study hall and buying into the whole process, and that is to be a student athlete,
Yes.
not just an athlete.
I agree. Coach, you know, as we're talking about, the team in general, we have some positives as well. And when I say the positives, DJ Wright has come in, the D3 transfer, and you've given them the tough task of handling the point guard, coming in from D3, you've given him the ball to be like run the offense. And he's done, fairly well. He's done fairly well.
Yeah,
It's been some adjustment, sure. But, to see where he's at, and like I said, the grad student, so he knows the game. I
hmm
I can definitely appreciate what he's done for the team so far.
yeah. He's done a tremendous job, and he's battled some injuries. You know, we lost him for two or three games earlier this year. Which really hurt us, and we ended up losing those games because we didn't have him. Um, but he's battled back now. I think he's probably about 90%. So that's good. Um, he is tough. He's a tough little guy, I'm gonna tell you right now. And he's just a junior. So he's a grad junior, basically,
Hmm.
a grad junior. And he would be making sure that I said that correctly, because he wants to make sure that people know that he's earned one degree and he's working on another degree, his master's degree. So he's a grad junior, and he has another year next year, and I think he's going to be special.
I definitely agree with that. And just looking down the list, like we you talked about how important Eddie Page is as well, and
Yeah.
when Eddie gets healthy, whether that's going to be this year or next year, depending on how the injury heals. Eddie's
Yeah.
another high academic kid that coming from a quality school as well, high school, and I think Eddie will pay big dividends also.
Man, if we had Eddie right now, it would be a tremendous help, just because of his defensive presence inside. Like, it's very difficult to score on him, and Eddie's tough, and he's physical. And we lost that. We lost a lot of that when we lost him. You know, it was over the break, right before we played. I believe Elizabeth City.
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
uh-huh.
so he's been out for quite a while now, and I'm not sure he'll return this year from what the doctors are saying. So
Okay.
it's been tough, but we'll hang in there.
And in another positive that I like in watching him continue throughout the season is Lake Davis. Lake Davis is showing he's moving forward. I like what he's doing with his game. He's showing that outside that he can hit that outside shot to go with his post work. And the other person I'm waiting for, and yes, he's still new, is Emmanuel Jones. I think once Emmanuel figures it out of what you expect of him,
Yeah.
then I think that momentum is going to swing.
I definitely think so. He's starting to get more and more comfortable, and we definitely need him to, and we need him to quickly. Um, but it is quite an adjustment for him to learn, everything we do defensively, all the sets, the offensive concepts, and the various things we do. But thought yesterday he took a big step in the right direction. I want to say he might have been close to a double double. He had a double double yesterday
Okay.
at Aiken. Just I don't remember for sure, but if he didn't have a double double, he was close. He's starting to get more and more comfortable. And now we were without Lay
I
and
know.
Deshaun yesterday,
Jeez.
so it takes away. It's like it seems like every game we have somebody that
That's
is
missing.
not playing,
Yeah.
and it's disappointing. Uh, and but like I said, we remain hopeful and we remain positive, and we know that we're going to be one of those teams that's playing in that conference tournament.
Um, and like you said, especially with Lay, and Deshaun's another one that he's an X factor, and I we've talked about this, with me and you. I feel like he's an X factor once he figures out how good he can be, because he's
Man,
really a 6'5", 6'6" swingman, and I'm like, oh, you have so many intangibles that you can be really good in this league, and I'm just waiting for that light bulb to click, so to speak.
oh my goodness, Dave, the kid has so much potential. He could be so he could be so good. Um, I he's one that I think lacks confidence, and I don't know why. We build him up constantly. We're constantly telling him, "Man, you got it. You got everything. It's just you got to have it here."
Mhm.
And so we're working with him on that. Again, he's new. He's a junior. He'll be better.
Mhm.
We got a really I think we got a really good group, and we don't anticipate losing any of these guys to the portal.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with that. And the heart and soul of the team. I always call him the heart and soul is Jamal. Jamal's going to be Jamal. You know what to expect from Jamal. He's going to give you 100% effort. He's that
all the
mid
time.
range person that opens up the offense for you. He's going to play hard. He can guard multiple positions, and you know every team needs a Jamal Kleiss.
Yeah, he is definitely the heart and soul of our team. Um, he keeps us locked in, does the best he possibly can to keep his teammates locked in. Keep himself healthy, and the guy is tough and he's a winner and he wants to win. um, and he's doing everything I think he that a captain and a leader needs to do to help his team have success.
You know, and my other ones that I I see the flashes because there's some games where I'm like, oh, this guy can be really good, and then there's other games where it's just more consistency for him more than anything. That's Aaron Pitts.
We feel the same way. There are games that he comes out and he's ready, he's rolling, he's feeling it, and then there are games he comes out and he misses one or two shots and then he shuts down.
Yeah, kind of flat
And
after that.
he,
Yeah,
he just sort of goes, if he has one or two misses, he gets so mad at himself that he takes himself out of the game.
yeah,
And he's just got to be more mentally stronger than that. He's got to be, next play mentality.
yeah,
And he's so he's such a perfectionist that if he has a turnover or if he misses a shot he thinks he should have made, it starts to just pour. It goes from a drizzle to a full out storm.
yeah.
you know. So we just have to continue to be positive with him, continue to help him, and hopefully he had a great practice today. We had a great practice today. So, hopefully, we had to play yesterday and then we had practice today, then we got to play tomorrow, then we got practice Tuesday, and then we got to play Wednesday. So, 3 games in 4 days. So,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
um,
Who do you have tomorrow, Coach?
we go to Georgia College tomorrow.
Yeah, down at Georgia College in Millersville, and then
Yeah,
Wednesday you're at home, and then
at home against Georgia Southwest.
Saturday you're away again,
I
right?
think Saturday we're at home again.
Okay, okay. And man, like you said, these games back to back, but it is college, so that's the expectation. Like, even though one of these games is because of a cancellation, is was rescheduled, but it can happen like this. And even when you get to the tournament, you know that as well. You can play those back to backs. You got to be ready.
Got to be ready. Got to
Yeah,
be ready, Dave.
yeah. That's just all it is. And Coach, I'm just looking at this season, and I never want to go with what ifs, but I'm taking the positives because you're building this thing, and people have to be patient as you're building this, and you can see it. Well, I can see it because I got the best seat in the house. I can see what you're doing, and it just takes patience for people to understand, what you're up against to build this to a contender. Are you going to get there? Yes, you're going to get there. But like you said, everybody's expectation is they want it now.
Yeah, instantly. And it doesn't work like that. Sometimes you get a break and you get a good talented group in, and all together, yes, you might can get that break and have that breakthrough. But we got guys that we're bringing in that we're having to develop. We don't bring in big time transfers. We bring in kids that are great kids that we have to develop. And we brought in probably a less talented. We took a chance on maybe a slightly less talented kid this year because we didn't want to bring in a kid that's looking for his numbers to get in the portal.
Yeah.
So we brought in kids that are a little less talented, but that we can hold on to them and develop them.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that. I think the recipe for a good team, and you know this as well, I think it's a mixture.
Hmm.
Of kids you develop, of kids that you bring in out of JUCO, some high school kids, and if
Yeah,
you can grab a portal drop down or a portal coming from a D2 or D3, that's
yeah,
that's the recipe for a good team now. I mean, it
yeah.
has to be that way because that's the way what everybody's doing.
That's the way the ball is rolling.
Yeah. That's the way the
That's the
ball is
way.
rolling. So, I know you and Dre are going to continue to do your job. There's no question because one of the biggest compliments that I hear from a number of people is it's not like they don't know because you have your guys prepared because you're yelling out exactly what the other team is going to do. Dre does a great job of, game preparation of what the other team is going to do, what they're going to run. So a lot of times he's yelling that stuff out, and for the true basketball heads that are in the stands, they
Yeah,
can see it. They can see
you
it and
can
they
see
can
it.
hear it. They're like, he's yelling
Yeah,
out exactly what they're doing.
trust me, we work hard on preparation. We
Or
work
it's
hard on
it's
preparing
obvious.
our kids. We run the other team's offense. We prepare. We know what they're doing. Our guys just have to. They gotta lock in and be attentive to detail.
Yeah. Execution and attention to detail because, like I said, the smallest little mishap, you can get burned. And sometimes that can cost the game as well, especially in college. Like,
Yeah,
even if you don't have a bunch of mishaps. Sometimes the games are played so well that it comes down to just who has the ball at the end of the game.
yeah,
So
yeah. You're right.
I look at this coach like, you have to be laser focused. And, I know they understand that because when they watch film, they can tell, oh, okay, this wasn't good. Or they can also see where, some of the games are so good that whoever has the ball at the end of the game, and if they score, sometimes you got to just tip your cap to that person. You be like, this was a very well played game, and came down to who executed last and who had the ball last.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
So
Absolutely right.
I'm looking at this coach like I feel like it's headed in the right direction. I just feel like people have to be a little bit more patient, and as they're more patient, they'll see the change coming. They'll definitely see the
They'll
change.
definitely see it because we've made great strides, bringing in quality kids, who stay out of trouble. They don't run, run the community getting in trouble and, you know, uh, getting in trouble on campus. We brought in quality kids, but, we brought in, like I said, kids that we have to try to develop a little bit skill wise, you
Yeah.
know. Your son being one of those, he's developing. I've seen in just 2 weeks, I've seen him get better, because he's a good kid that's buying in and, he believes in what we're doing. Uh, he's one of those kids that fit in perfectly. And so now it's just a matter of how quickly can he develop,
Exactly.
but that's what we do, you know, bring in great kids that may not be highly recruited, you know, where before we were bringing in, you know, before this portal went crazy and the transfer regulations just, you know, got dropped. We were trying to bring in, high caliber talent,
hmm
but now we're trying to bring in good players, but maybe not one that's at a Division 1 that's averaging 9 or 10 points a game, and could average 20 here because we're probably only gonna have him 1 year and he's gonna leave.
hmm
You
I
know,
agree.
so
I agree. Coach, like I said, I love doing this show because I want people to see this show now versus when you turn this thing around and I don't even have to say I told you. I, I'll play certain clips of this back in the future to show like it took patience. Of course, I know you being a competitive person. I know you want this right now, but
right now,
I want people to understand like you paid your dues to get Clayton State to where they're going. And when it gets there, I don't want those front runners coming. Oh, coach, I knew you could always do it. No,
yeah,
I want them to be here right now as you're building this thing.
as we're going through the storm, always on the other side of the storm is sunshine. So, you know, we're just going through a storm right now.
Exactly. Yeah, but I don't. That's the last of my worries because when I look at this, it's just one block at a time, building one block at a time, and you're
Hmm.
you're going to be fine, coach. And like I said, you're building a good team, you're building a good culture. You're going to have some kids more than likely that are going to be all academic peach belt this year.
Yeah, yeah, we had a 4.0, a 3.8, a couple of 3.5s, you know. So we got some kids that's on the dean list that we haven't had. I mean, I think in the past we might have had one kid, and I think we
Yeah,
might have had 4 kids this year.
yeah,
So we hope to continue to build that, and and also continue to build a program into a championship caliber program.
oh yeah, yeah. That I know you, and I know your resume. I know it's gonna happen. It, am I like you? Do I want it yesterday? Of course I do. But
Yes,
I
yes.
I
Mhm.
understand that, it's a process and getting that support that you need to get what you're trying to accomplish, all that plays a part into this. So I know you're gonna be fine. I'm not worried about that. We're gonna keep having the show because we're gonna keep talking about the positives. And we're going to talk about some of the things that need to be worked on as well, because I mean, we're not going to hide from that.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we're not going to hide from that.
We're
But
very transparent. You're that way, and I'm that way.
yeah, I just
So,
wanted to be where people understand, like when it does happen, I will pull these shows up and say, "Look, we talked about this. We talked about what needed to be improved. We talked
Mhm.
about where the program was at that time, where it needed to go. And once it's there, yeah, I mean, like you said, it'll be sunshine, but it'll be well deserved.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, Coach, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. I know you guys got a game tomorrow, so I don't want to hold you up. I want to thank you for coming on as usual. We're going to
Yes.
continue doing this because, like I said, I want people to have a clear window of the Clayton State program and where you're trying to go with this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Always appreciate you, my man.
Oh, anytime. You already know. Hey, we family here, so with family
Yes,
here,
sir.
we're gonna keep working this thing until we get it right. How about
Yes,
that?
sir. Yes, sir.
So that's going to do it for tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining us for CSU Lakers Show at the Loch Season 2. We'll be back next week after these 3 games, man. After these three
Mhm.
games, and hopefully we have some good news. But we're going to keep doing this. And everybody have a good night and God bless.
God bless. Thank you. Go Lakers.